Update at the bottom. I am a 16-year-old female, and I have a cousin who is also 16 years old, female, whom my mom often compares me to. My cousin has really good grades, with her lowest being like a 96, while my highest grade is a 73 in PE. Yes, I know it's bad. Me and my mom got in an argument a few days ago about my grades, which is something we argue about a lot. My mom checked my grades while I was out at work, and they were 24, 17, 73, 0, 36, non-graded class 58, and 42. I know they're horrible, but I can't help it. The reason my grades are so low is because I never have the energy or time to do assignments. I wake up, go to school, after school go to work until 11 p.m. on school nights and 1:30 a.m. on weekends. Then I go home, clean, and if I have an appetite, I make food and then go to sleep. The cycle repeats. I'm honestly beyond exhausted when I get home. Oftentimes I can't sleep and I don't even have the energy to change clothes or shower. It's gross, I know. No need to lecture me about it. During our argument, my mom said, "Why can't you be more like cousin's name?" It's something she said before, but I was already in a really bad mood and snapped back at her saying, "Why can't you be like cousin's mom's name?" She looked at me like she saw a ghost and I started apologizing profusely. She slapped me and told me to go to my room, so I did. That night, I tried to go talk to her, but she just ignored me. I know what I said was wrong, but I can't help but feel she deserved it. For context, my cousin and her family are pretty wealthy. Her mom is a doctor and her dad is a lawyer, so I'm sure you can imagine their total income, while me and my mom barely survive on our combined income. I have to give her 95% of my paycheck, including all tips, so I don't have much. I'm a waitress, and what I do get goes into food. I often go days without food, while my cousin eats out almost every day. They'll invite me, but I can never go due to work or my mom not allowing me. My cousin and her family also go on vacation 5 times a year, which I'm invited to but can never go to. I know my mom tries her best to provide for me and her, as my biological dad bailed out when my mom got pregnant with me, but I often feel myself resent her because I see her going out on dates in luxury restaurants which are all paid for, while I'm stuck at work, starving. While out on a date, she always orders more than she can eat and takes the rest home for herself. I'm not allowed to have any of it or I'll get in trouble. She'll also often bring guys over and I'll have to come home after a long day to the sounds of my mom having fun in the bedroom. I love my mom so much, but it's been a few days since we talked, and I feel like such a bad daughter. I'd love advice on how to fix things or what to do about this situation. So am I the idiot? Hi, this is an edit. I'm seeing a few comments about a post I made a while ago. I would just like to clear some things up. The post being talked about is one an old friend of mine made with my mom's approval, so the post is hers, not mine. This post is mine. Those that know what post I am talking about, I will just let you all know that she is doing better now. Sorry for any confusion. About this post, I will be editing this post and creating an update post, hopefully sometime tomorrow if things go as planned. I am currently writing a letter, a suggestion from many, that I will slip to my cousin tomorrow when I visit her with my mom. Thank you to those that commented. I really appreciate it, and you. Update edit. Hi. First, I would like to answer some questions people had. I'm 16. I live in the U.S., Texas. My mom is currently unemployed but landed an interview for next week. The interview is for a daycare at around $35,000, $40,000 a year, and I don't have any siblings. On to the update, yesterday I asked a teacher to call my mom and let her know I had detention, as someone suggested. When I was at detention, I went to go to my cousin's house and showed her parents the post. My aunt, mom's sister, started apologizing for my mom's actions while her husband was getting me some food and my cousin was still reading. My aunt told me that she will subtly start coming over more with food. I told them some more things that weren't mentioned in the post. Some of those things included that my mom slapping me wasn't the first time she laid hands on me. I left that out because, as some said, I didn't know it wasn't normal. My mom would never hit me so hard that it bruised, but hard enough it would hurt for a few hours or even days. I am currently typing this from my cousin's old phone, so I can now send texts to my cousin and her family without my mom knowing. My cousin's dad offered to call authorities and be my lawyer for the potential case. I told him to hold on the authorities and took his offer for the potential case. Some have said stuff along the lines of my mom bringing home men that she doesn't know too well, that could possibly be a threat to me, and that they doubt my mom would stand for me. Nothing too much has happened with the men she brings over, as they usually leave after my mom drops me off at school. There is one guy my mom brings over pretty often, and there have been things he has done. Once, he picked me up from work at 11 p.m. and I threw up in his car. He was upset and started yelling at me. When my mom heard him yelling, she stepped in and yelled back at him, telling him he has no right to yell at me. She asked why he was yelling, and when he told her she started yelling at me, he tried to join in, but my mom shut him down immediately. Before that, I had noticed that he looked at me in a kinda creepy way. I don't really know what to call it. He never did anything before the argument, but after, he started sitting closer next to me and trying to get closer. I don't want to get into too much detail, but sometimes he'd put his hand on my knee and go up a little, then back down to my knee. He has once actually touched me, and that was when he was introducing me to one of his friends, and he had his arm around me. His hand was on one of my breasts, and he was slightly caressing it. Both these times he touched me. I tried to move away, so no, I didn't let him. No, I wasn't wearing anything revealing, and I have told my mom, but she just brushed it off. I look a lot like my mom, and I feel like that has something to do with it. To those that asked what I had planned for after high school, nothing. I never planned for after high school because I did and still do struggle with suicidal thoughts, so I never thought much about my future. I also will start stealing my cash tips, as some suggested, and will be hiding them. Thank you for all that commented, as y'all made me realize that my mom isn't who I thought she was. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Sweetie, there is nothing you need to apologize for. You can let her know this is how you feel every time she says it to you. Your mom should be caring for you and not tearing you down. The fact that she will eat well while you go without is beyond me. Do you have a trusted adult you could talk to? Are you able to get your own account? As a mother, I will say what your mom should say. I am proud of you. Thank you for doing your best while helping your household. The fact that you work and go to school is amazing. Don't ever quit. Please don't think that this is all life has to offer you. I see so much strength and potential in you. You have a fighting spirit. What are your plans for after high school? Comment 2. Not the idiot. She can't expect you to have perfect grades if you barely have the time or energy to invest in your studies. In fact, as the mother, she should be responsible for supporting the household so you can be a normal kid and have time to study. But here we are. You're doing something else instead because she can't afford to do it by herself. I think she's being hurtful, seeing as she wastes money on expensive dates while you give almost your entire income to her. If someone needs to apologize, it's her. She should be ashamed of herself. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, things have been busy since I last wrote. Remember how I said my mom was going for that daycare job? Well, she got it, but it's like she's a different person at work. She's all smiles and patience there, but at home, it's like I'm living with a storm cloud. She's been more on edge than ever, snapping over the smallest things. I guess the stress of a new job is getting to her, but it's like I'm walking on thin ice all the time. Now here's where things get really twisted. My aunt, the one who's been sneaking food to me, well, she's been doing more than just that. She's been snooping around, trying to find out what's really going on in our house, and boy, did she find out. Turns out my mom's been lying about where she's been spending her money. She's not just going on dates, she's been gambling. And not just a little bit, like a lot, she's in debt, big time. My aunt found out because one of the guys my mom dated is actually a debt collector, and he showed up at their place looking for my mom. But wait, it gets worse. My cousin, the perfect one, she's been failing a class. Yep, you heard that right. Miss Perfect is not so perfect after all. She's been so busy trying to keep up appearances that she's been neglecting her studies. And her parents are furious. They've been so focused on me and my mess of a life that they didn't see what was happening with their own daughter. And remember the creepy guy my mom's been seeing? He's not just creepy, he's dangerous. One night, he got really aggressive with me, and I had to lock myself in my room until he left the next morning. I told my mom, and she finally saw him for what he was. She kicked him out, but not before he threatened to tell everyone about her gambling if she didn't pay him off. So now she's even more in debt trying to keep him quiet. I've been saving my tips like I said I would, and it's a good thing too. because with my mom's debt, we're on the brink of losing our apartment. I've been giving her some of the money to help with rent, but I'm keeping enough stashed away in case things go south. And through all of this, I've been trying to keep my head above water at school. I've managed to bring up a couple of my grades, but it's tough when home feels like a battleground. I'm just trying to make it to graduation at this point. So yeah, that's the update. It's been pretty tough, and not the fun kind. Thanks for reading. My wife ignores my grief and overwhelm with twins and a flooded house, so I serve her divorce papers and take full custody. I have twin toddlers, 19 months old, with my wife. Between work, caring for our kids, and doing household chores, it has been very stressful to say the least. I have been neglecting many of my own personal needs to keep our home running smoothly over the past year and a half. My little sister, 33 years old, passed away very suddenly about 2 weeks ago. It has been very hard on me and my family. My mom lived with my sister and can't afford the apartment without her. I have been trying to help her pack up and move while balancing work and home life. Unfortunately, between the kids and everything else in life, I haven't had time to really grieve. It kind of just gets pushed to the back of my mind. I feel like I need downtime to really unpack things and find some closure. My wife likes to plan many get-togethers with friends and family. It's usually frustrating for me because I often don't have time for myself, let alone to entertain guests or spend the entire day out of the house. It has been particularly hard recently because I haven't even had time to really grieve. Last Saturday, 2 days after my sister's funeral, she reminded me about plans she made to have her family come over this Saturday. On top of that, her friend asked her to come over on Sunday to help with some things, which she felt obligated to do. To complicate things further, our washer has been leaking water, and I've been putting off replacing it because I would need to demolish a closet in our laundry room to make it fit. If I didn't take care of it soon, I wouldn't be able to do it for at least a month, maybe even longer. I reminded her about the washer and that I needed time for myself after the funeral. I asked her to choose one plan, family or friend, and we got into a small fight. She ended up insisting that she needed to do both things, and I ended up demolishing the closet last Saturday at my wife's suggestion. This was 2 days after my sister's funeral. This week, my wife's family came over on Saturday as planned. On Sunday, I went to help my mom pack in the morning and came home to clear the garage to make room for my sister's belongings. In the evening, as I was still cleaning out the garage, my wife reminded me that she was going out to help her friend after the kids were in bed. At this point, I lost it. It has been barely a week since my sister died. I'm still trying to get her affairs in order, and I don't even have time to grieve. Now, my wife is planning on leaving and having me watch the kids by myself. Even if they are sleeping, they do wake up frequently enough. I also wasn't even close to being done in the garage. We ended up having a big fight over it. I don't feel like my wife is being supportive. It feels like she thinks that the funeral already happened and everything is done. I didn't explicitly tell her that I needed time to grieve, but I have asked her for time to myself repeatedly over the past couple of weeks and have yet to get it. I feel that a spouse should be more empathetic and accommodating than this, especially considering the current circumstances. From her point of view, she took care of the kids all day and cleaned up after them. And there is no reason why she can't go to her friends, am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the jerk. I honestly can't believe how selfish she is behaving. Like what the actual frick? I am so sorry for your loss. When my dad died, suddenly my husband did everything for me and my family. He took time off work. He did the groceries, which he hates. He did 99% of childcare, cleaning, cooking, just everything I needed. For the first few weeks, I didn't have to worry about anything except dealing with what happened. Your wife needs to step up her game like this so you can actually deal with everything. Comment 2. You'll have more time for yourself and your family if you divorced. Your wife sounds like a piece of shit who organizes a day out with friends and family to have fun 2 freaking days after her sister-in-law's death. Why isn't she coming to her mother-in-law's house to help? I bet if it was her brother or sister who died unexpectedly, she would expect empathy and time to heal, and get pissed off if you arranged a boys' day out having fun with friends while she's grieving. Dump her. She is no wife to you, 100% not the jerk. Now for the update, thanks for sticking with me here. So, the past 2 weeks have been pretty up and down, to say the least. After the fight with my wife, things just spiraled. I thought we'd hit rock bottom, but it turns out there was a whole other level. The washer situation got worse. I had to take a day off work to deal with it because the leak turned into a flood. I'm talking water everywhere, and it seeped into the hallway carpet. So now, on top of everything else, I'm dealing with mold. I had to rip up the carpet, and the smell was just awful. The kids were cranky because the noise from the fans drying the floors was keeping them up. Then, my boss called. He was understanding at first about my sister and the time off for the funeral. But this was different. He said I was slipping, missing deadlines, and it was affecting the team. He gave me an ultimatum. Get it together, or there might not be a job to come back to. I felt like I was being punished for having a life outside of work. My mom's move was another disaster. She found a place, but it was smaller, and she had to get rid of a lot of my sister's stuff. That was hard to watch. I mean, these were my sister's things, her memories. We had to decide what to keep and what to let go, and it felt like we were erasing her. Amid all this, my wife's friend had a crisis. Her husband left her, and she needed support. My wife spent nights at her place, helping her through it. I get it. Her friend needed her, but so did I. I felt abandoned. The tipping point was last Thursday. I was late picking up the kids from daycare because of traffic. When I got there, the daycare lady gave me this look, like I was the worst parent ever. I was already on edge, and I just lost it. I yelled at her, which I know I shouldn't have done, but I was at my breaking point. That night, my wife and I sat down to talk. It was tense. She said she felt like she was walking on eggshells around me. I told her I felt alone, like I was drowning, and she was just watching from the shore. We went to bed angry, not speaking. The next day, I got a call from my mom. She had fallen down the stairs at her new place and was in the hospital with a broken leg. I couldn't believe it. It was like every time I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. I rushed to the hospital, and seeing her there, in pain and scared, something in me just snapped. I called my wife and told her everything, how I felt neglected, how I was struggling with my grief, and how I needed her. She came to the hospital and we talked, really talked, for the first time in weeks. We decided to make some changes. She would cut back on her social plans, and I would look for a grief counselor. We agreed to communicate better and support each other. But when I got home from the hospital, there was a letter from my boss on the kitchen table. I was being put on a performance improvement plan. It was like a punch in the gut. I had tried so hard to keep everything together, and it still wasn't enough. So here I am, 2 weeks later, with a broken washer, a job hanging by a thread, a wife who's trying but also has her own life, and a mom in a cast. It's been tough, and I'm just trying to take it one day at a time. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend argues men can't be victims, but when she gets pregnant with her ex's baby after our fight, I make sure she learns her lesson by suing for emotional distress and winning every penny. Me and my girlfriend have been together for the past 1.5 years. Today in the morning, I was enjoying a walk with my girlfriend. Then I brought up a news article I read. It was about a guy, 19-year-old male, being sexually attacked by 3 women, 38, 43, and 40-year-old females. The police were not able to register a complaint because, according to Indian law, men can't be sexually attacked. They are now also changing the law so that even intimacy attack on minor boys won't be a non-bailable crime. After hearing this, she laughed and said, "Men can't be sexually attacked. If they get hard, it's consent." To which I replied, "So by that logic, if a woman reaches orgasm, it's not rap." She told me it's different and I don't understand. It's also about how women feel about it. I told her, then why can't the same apply to men? Do you think all men are intimacy addicts and would go along with whatever? She then said she doesn't want to talk about it because I'll never agree with her no matter what she says. I tried to push further, and I was a bit disrespectful in the way I talked to her. She didn't answer the question asked, but rather told me about how women are usually trapped in marriage and always pressured by society. I told her that men don't have it any better in this society. We are expected to work and provide, and we are never even allowed to show emotions. We are rarely even appreciated for what we do by our own kids and family, because it's just our duty. And let's talk about marriage. In the case of that, men have to share their assets, even those they earned before marriage, and even their inherited property, while women's assets are theirs alone. If it's 50-50, it should apply to both. I know most Western countries have better laws, so don't tell me that. You can't refuse to give money to your wife if they ask for it. It's abuse by law, while women have no obligation to do so. They can claim alienation if we leave, we can't. They can call it abuse if we beat them, if they do it. It's battery, and it isn't even grounds for divorce. They get half of everything if we want out. And even if women are rich, we almost get nothing because they are women and were abused in the past. Does that mean we have to endure that now? Just because someone did in the past. She said, "These laws exist so women don't get screwed over by men because it happened in the past." I was like, right, it did happen, and what happened was bad and should be stopped. But harassing one group of people for the comfort of another is not the solution. Equality is needed, not pseudo-equality. If they make laws gender neutral, the problem will be solved. She replied with, "That's why you've been alone until you met me. You hate women. That's why no one dated you." I was stunned. It was a low blow. I told her she should leave me alone as well. Then she stormed off. In the evening, I texted her that I needed time to think about our relationship. I also told her not to contact me for a while. She's been texting and calling nonstop. I have not answered. Honestly, I'm enjoying watching her call me frantically. It's oddly satisfying. Her friend, on the other hand, texted me saying, I should say sorry to her for being misogynistic and take her back because she didn't do anything wrong for calling me out. And I shouldn't throw away 2 years for this stupid argument that's not related to us. I didn't respond to her either, but her friends are really getting on my nerves. My girlfriend is a nice person otherwise, and I never expected this from her. But yes, her views hurt me deeply. My whole outlook on her has changed. So am I the jerk for throwing away my supposedly perfect girlfriend of 2 years? I do think I'm not the jerk here, but I do need your opinion. Mini update. So, I read most of the comments that were posted. I didn't respond to many because I thought I had nothing more to add. And sorry for my late response, I passed out after last night's drinking. I couldn't handle the non-stop messages from her friends and guilt-tripping, although I liked the attention at first and thought she might change her views. We haven't broken up yet, as some of you assumed despite what I wrote. I asked for time to think. First, to all the survivors of intimacy attack, of any gender in the comment section, how you feel is completely valid, and I understand this might have brought up some memories of past abuse that you suffered. I'm sorry for doing that, and I'm truly thankful that you guys backed me on this. As many have pointed out, I was a jerk for how I responded to her changing the topic. Well, I don't think you read my full post. I know it was disrespectful, but I only responded to accusations. I'm not a men's rights activist, but like everyone else, assuming you're a normal person with morals, I also want equal rights for everyone. Now, about my girlfriend. I do know it was a bad move to break up over text, and I have decided to give her a chance to speak her mind again. But if she continues to deny that men can be sexually attacked, I will just leave and ghost her forever. It'll be hard since we go to the same college, but yes, I can't really be with a person who thinks like this, despite how I feel about her. I texted her to meet me at a coffee shop tomorrow. Let's see where this goes, that's all I'd say. To people calling this incel rage bait, I don't know what to tell you. All I can say is I'm not an incel. Please stop labeling me. I don't have anything against women. I only have something against her because she used personal insults and avoided accountability by attempting to change the topic. I fell for it, and I'm argumentative. I have really wonderful women in my life, mom and sisters, and they mean a lot to me. I do not hate women. I hate even having to explain this. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot from personal experience. Men can be sad. Huge red flag. That's like a guy saying she's asking for it when she wears a mini skirt and a crop top. Dodged a mortar shell there. Comment 2. Not the idiot essay isn't about how you feel. It either is essay or not. So if someone consents but later feels bad, it isn't essay. I would have left her too. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since the last post. So the coffee shop meeting with my girlfriend was a disaster. She showed up with a friend, which already set me off. I wanted to talk one-on-one, but there she was, with backup. Her friend did most of the talking, saying how I misunderstood everything and that my girlfriend was just trying to make a point about society, not about me personally. I couldn't get a word in. It felt like they were tag teaming me, and I just sat there, boiling inside. I walked out of there without resolving anything. But then, later that day, my girlfriend showed up at my place unannounced. She was crying, saying she was sorry and that she didn't mean to hurt me. She said she loved me and didn't want to lose me over this. I wanted to stay mad, but seeing her like that, I just couldn't. I let her in, and we talked for hours. She promised to be more understanding and to think before she speaks. I wanted to believe her, so I did. The next day, things got even more complicated. I found out from a friend that while my girlfriend was apologizing to me, she was also messaging her ex. Apparently, she told him about our fight, and he was comforting her. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt betrayed. I confronted her, and she admitted it but said it was nothing, that he's just a friend now. But how can I trust her after that? I was ready to end things right there, but then she dropped another bomb on me. She's pregnant. I didn't know what to think. She said it happened before our fight, that it wasn't planned, but she wants to keep the baby. And she wants me to be there with her. I'm not ready to be a dad, but the thought of not being there for my own kid? That's not me. I told her I need time to think, but she's been calling me nonstop since then. And if that wasn't enough, today I got a message from her ex. He said he knows about the baby and that he's there for her if I'm not. That made me see red. I wanted to confront him, but what would that solve? It's like everyone's making decisions about my life except me. I'm in a tough situation. I care about my girlfriend, but I don't know if I can trust her. And now there's a baby in the mix. I feel like I should leave, but then I think about my kid growing up without a dad, and I can't do that. So I'm still here, trying to figure out what to do next. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.